Hi everyone, Sonia Beatriz here with Positive Direction the Wholeness Center. Just wanted to make another video as promised about one of the other questions that I get a lot of the time, which is how did I know that I was psychic or gifted? And if I learned this or if I've been this way all my life. So I have to say, as far as I can remember, I've had some gifts. And it all started when I was about 3 years old. That's the first memory that I have. And I'll just start from there and come up to date. So when I was 3, I lived in the ghetto of San Antonio, which back then we called them the courts. We were pretty poor. And I remember I was racing with the little girl from, I don't know whose unit it was, if it was mine or hers or just some random unit, but we were going to race from this door of the building to the corner, to the street light. And so it's the building, the yard, the sidewalk, and then of course like the little grass easement, I think it's called, and then the curb, then the street. Well, on the street on our side was a black pickup truck, and we're getting ready to race. We're in our stance. And I remember clearly, even to this day, I've always remembered this, remembering seeing myself in my head hitting that black pickup truck. So we're getting ready to race, and I tell my little friend, no, I don't think it's a good idea that we race. And I think she was upset because thinking I'm a sore loser. I just know she's going to win. I don't want to race, and she really wants to race. And I'm telling her, no, I'm going to hit that pickup truck. And she's like, no, you aren't. No, you aren't. I'm like, yes, I am. I know that I am. And so where I was standing was on the side of the pickup truck, and she was standing on the side closest to the units. So she says, well, why don't we switch places? You stand on the side close to the houses, and I'll stand by the truck, so that way you don't feel like you're going to crash into it. And I was like, okay, yeah, that should work. So we're getting ready to run, and of course it's like, your mark, get set, go. And we start running, and we're running as fast as our little legs can take us, and my ankle gives way. And so I'm running to the side and pass her side of the sidewalk, go over that little easement of grass, over the curb, and scrape my forehead clear off all the skin right here on this truck, and go home crying and end up getting stitches. And I have this big old scar. I don't know if you could see it. I think that's it right there. Yeah. So I have this scar, and all my life it bothered me up until about high school. But I never knew why it bothered me so much. But now that I think about it, I think it was because it was trying to help me not to forget the fact that I knew I was going to hit myself on that truck. So since then, I remember being maybe about 7 or 8 years old and seeing pictures of bloody people in my window, in the second story window. And of course being scared, but being like, how can they be in my window if I'm on the second floor? And we didn't have a balcony outside my window, so that was really odd. We always lived in these houses that had like strange things going on, things appearing, things disappearing. So we've kind of always been in that environment. And then I remember getting into high school, it got worse. I started knowing when people were going to get into accidents, fall, trip, get hurt. It got to a point where I thought I was making things happen. I would be in class and I would get really nervous and scared. And to me, I knew that that meant something bad was going to happen. Sure enough, I'd get home and something happened at home, or something happened that I heard about. I known a couple of times when people had died, even though I didn't know who they were, but I knew that they had passed, and then I got validation of that a day or so later. So it was pretty scary. And it wasn't until my early 20s that I knew someone that was going to go see a psychic. And I don't know why, but sometime in my life I developed this belief that psychics were bad and they were evil. So if you feel that way, I totally understand. I did too. So anyway, this person was going to go get a reading, and I was like, I don't want to get a reading, but I do want to go and talk to this person because of my life experience. And of course, she knew all of the details and stuff, because it's something that I just tend to talk about with a lot of people because it's kind of crazy. And so when it was my turn to speak with her, she was a really cool lady. Her name was Mary Nichols. She's no longer on this planet, but she's very influential in my life. And she, after hearing basically what I just told you, she says, oh, so you're gifted. And I'm like, no, it's more like cursed. There's nothing gift about it. And she's like, no. She goes, see, if you had all of this luck and good things happened and everything was great, happy-go-lucky in your life, you would never question it. You would never pay attention to it. You would just think you were a lucky person to just go about your life. She goes, but the fact that it's negative, it's causing you to question it. It's causing you to look into it. It's causing you to ask. She says, so that's why it's been negative. It's like a nightmare. It's trying to give you a message. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she says, so what you have is a tool. She says, it's like a hammer. You can use it for good and build a house for Habitat for Humanity, or you can use it for bad and bash in somebody's car window. It's totally up to you what you do with this tool, this gift that you have. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. So I was like, wow. Okay. She says, well, you should study some things to see what your niche is. So she gave me a deck of cards, which, sorry, but I didn't like them at all. But she said my first deck should be given to me. She didn't say it should be used, so I kept them for a very, very long time. And I went to the library downtown and read everything I could about psychic phenomenon, types of psychic gifts. I remember specifically it was area 531 point whatever. I was all over that aisle in the library. And every book that I could find that I could get my hands on that had exercises, I did them. I did everything that I could. So little by little, I learned to trust this gift that I have. So then sometime in my mid-20s, this psychic that I used to go see had an event that was for apprentices or novices like me, people who thought they had a gift but weren't sure, wanted to try it, get out in the public field. And I had already at this point been doing it for friends, and it was pretty spot on. But I just thought it was because I knew them. So then they bring their friends and ones that I didn't know, and I was able to read for them. And I was kind of like, this is weird. Like, how do I know these things? So I would read sometimes for my coworkers, you know, just kind of dabbling, playing, but never really believed I could do it outside of this little small circle that I had. So I went to this amateur night, I guess you can call it. And the cool thing is the way that she set it up was 20% of everything we made was going to go to a nonprofit organization. Everybody got to place a vote in what organization gets it. So whether you made a lot of money or you didn't, whether you were good or not, it didn't matter because somebody was benefiting from it either way. So it was a nice, you know, no weight on our shoulders kind of thing. So I went to this event and it was pretty awesome. I was just spot on with the stuff I was telling people. Of course, in my mind, what I thought I was talking about was totally wrong. That's kind of a funny story that I share in my classes. But yeah, it was interesting. I recall reading for a coworker and I was crying. I was bawling because of the information I was getting, and she's looking at me like, that doesn't even ring a bell. That doesn't even sound like the person that you're talking about. Like, our relationship isn't like that. And I'm like, no, it's going to be so bad. And well, months later, it turned out that what I had told her came to pass. So I had a lot of validation. But that's really how I found out. And I just kept trying and reading for more and more people. And then I found out about Reiki energy healing. Well, for a while, probably when I was about 19, my early 20s, I was really into like a Pentecostal non-denominational church, and we used to do the laying on of hands, and all the time people would say, oh, your hands get so hot, you're a healer by nature, you know, God's blessed you. So I found out about Reiki, which is a type of energy healing, and I'll have a video on that. But through my psychic connections, you know, people that I met and people that I'd seen, I found a Reiki teacher and learned how to do that, and I'll explain that, like I said, in another video. But everything kind of like tailored on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. It's been really cool. So yeah, I've been gifted most of my life. I did have to work through a lot of my stuff. I had a pretty tumultuous upbringing. So I've used a lot of the insight that I've gotten through the work that I've done to really help to be compassionate with other people. One of the other things that I wanted to include in this video was that I'm a huge empath. I feel other people's feelings. So when I am reading, you'll hear me say, I feel this, I feel that, I feel this as you. Because I'm really big into emotions. I feel almost every bit of information that I get. Every now and then it's pictures, it's memories, it's voices that I hear in my head. But most of the time it's a feeling that I get. But pretty much that's been my path, that's been my journey. So just because maybe you don't feel that you were naturally gifted doesn't mean that you cannot develop your intuitive and psychic abilities. I do also teach a class through Northside Independent School District. I also do one-on-one psychic development courses, but I teach people how to use this natural gift that we have. So it's kind of like muscles. We all have them, right? We all have muscles. We all have intuitive abilities. Some people are just born stronger than others. Some people, intuition comes a lot easier. Other people become bodybuilders and get really, really toned and really buff and develop these muscles. And it's the same thing with these gifts. It's like singing. Some people are natural singers, others have to work at it, but anybody can sing so long as you do the work. So this is basically how this gift works. So don't think that just because yours isn't so strong or so keen that it's not something that you can learn. It absolutely is. Even I had to learn. I had to develop what I had. Yes, it came naturally, but I didn't know what the heck it was, and I didn't know what to do with it, and I didn't know what it was called. But once I learned, it really helped me to navigate and find where my niche was in this ability. I did mention that when I was younger, I did see deceased people, so I do have a gift of mediumship. I don't call myself a medium though, because that's not my forte, but every now and then during a reading, people do like to check in and chime in and give a message, or I can feel their presence. But I'm not the kind of person that you can just come up to and say, hey, I want to talk to so-and-so. Like, that's not, not to say that it couldn't happen, but that's just not my forte. I'm not really fully confident in that area. I'm working on it. But yeah, so that's my answer to that question. Thank you for watching. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me via my website, positive-direction.com, or shoot me a text at 210-601-0369. And let me know if you're interested in a class. I love to do group classes. I think it's better for people to interact. But if you want to do a one-on-one, I'm available for that as well. So see you at the next video, and namaste. Have a great day.